That being said, let's jump into those draft grades, and then we'll, of course, get into the ingredients to success, proudly presented by Avicolis at the end of today's show, which is fantasy football style today. So, in the Gridiron Gurus League, the first person that I am going to be analyzing their draft here, we take a look at that. The first one that I'll be talking about this morning for the Gridiron Gurus, that is going to be Joe. Joe had the first overall pick, so we'll go ahead and bring up Joe here. So Joe's grade today. Now I'll tell you who Joe had. Now Joe, he drafted first overall Saquon Barkley. Okay, no surprise there. So he gets Saquon. And then after that, he has to wait in a 14-team league and in a snake draft. So I was at the other end of the snake draft. I was pick 14, and he was pick 1. So he got Saquon Barkley. I like it. Amon-Ra St. Brown, because he missed out on a bunch of people coming through here, quarterbacks being chosen and whatnot, a bunch of running backs. Then he got Packers quarterback Jordan Love. The Packers, or the quarterbacks that were still on the board, so let's see here. Chiefs were off the board. Eagles were off the board. Dolphins were off the board. Ravens were off the board. Bucks were off the board. Commanders, Bengals, they were all not on the board, and so he went with the Packers. So, I mean, if I go back and I look at my sheet here, my thoughts on that, I mean, it's not terrible. You know, Jordan Love, I don't dislike Jordan Love. Just taking a look at some of the things that were here. I mean, he could have gotten Brock Purdy. He could have gotten Bo Nix. Jared Goff. All right. Kyler Murray. But I understand he also could have gotten C.J. Stroud. But I don't hate it. So we'll move on to the next one. Then you got DJ Moore. And, you know, I actually think that Caleb Williams is going to have the opposite of the sophomore slump. I actually think he's going to have a good season. So DJ Moore being one of his receivers there in Chicago. Okay. Then you got Mason Taylor. This was a little bit of a homer pick, right? He went and got his Jet, and he is a Jets fan. He doesn't hide from that at all. So he went with the Jets. Okay. And then outside of going there, let's see, he got Quinshon Judkins in the 6th round of a 14-team league. So you know that there's a lot of people getting selected here, and I could be okay with that. You know, a bunch of running backs were off the board. Then he got George Pickens with the Cowboys. A little bit of a flyer there. We'll see how that works out. Hopefully it works out well. He got Khalil Shakir, who very well could be the number one guy. I think it's between him and tight end Dalton Kincaid as far as who is going to, you know, be that person for Josh Allen. And Khalil Shakir, getting him in round 8 at the end of round 8, I respect it. I definitely can respect that. I like that. So we're good on that one. And then he went with Braylon Allen, Jets running back, in round 9. He's a Jets fan, so I got it. Tajay Spears in round 10, I like. Adam Thielen in round 11. We'll see how Bryce Young does. I'm hoping that Bryce Young has a wonderful season this season. I'm hoping that everybody does. I never wish bad on anybody. And looking forward to what we're going to see here from Bryce Young, which hopefully will be a better season. So Thielen, okay, round 11. And then you got Jonnu Smith from the Steelers, tight end. He's been around the block. You got Raiders quarterback in round 13. Raiders for the boom. And Geno Smith now at quarterback. You got Sean Tucker in round 14 from Syracuse, who's been a Buck now since he came in undrafted and found his way onto the Bucks 53-man roster and has stuck around it, so I like that. Brandon Cooks with the Saints, okay. And then we have Juwan Johnson also with the Saints. Juwan Johnson, good tight end, but it depends on who's throwing to him and just the consistency. Jake Bates, he got the top kicker, and he got the Jets defense. So, I mean, overall, taking a look at Joe's team, I think it's pretty good. what I'll do is, and good morning to Mom over here. So Joe, I'm gonna give you. Let's see here, Joe. Where do I want to go with this one? I think I'm confident with this one, Joe. We're gonna go ahead and give you a B plus. I'm gonna give you a B plus. Okay, so Joe's gonna get a B plus, and he was our number one pick, or he was our first overall. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm actually gonna clear the board so I can do this a little bit nicer here. So our number one overall drafter here, Joe, you're going to get a B plus. So Joe got a B plus. Now we're going to move on to our next person, and the next person that we have here that drafted in the Gridiron Gurus League is Erin, Miss Erin Robert. So Erin Roberts here, she took Pat Mahomes in the second overall pick. And just to kind of let you know how these drafts are different, the Gridiron Gurus League for Wake Up Calls Fantasy Football at the Wildcat, Aaron drafts Pat Mahomes second overall. The next day in the Captains on Call League, I didn't draft Pat Mahomes until the third round. So, just what you think people are going to do within your league and what your plan is, right? Who you really want to have. So, she went with Pat Mahomes. I think it's early on that. Then she went with Alvin Kamara. Okay, so she went with Alvin Kamara with Chase Brown, Kyron Williams, James Cook, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Bucky Irving, Christian McCaffrey, Ashton Genty. They were all off the board. Saquon was off the board. So, okay, makes sense. So she goes with Kamara, Old Faithful with the Saints. And then she went with George Kittle, tight end. Now, let's look at the tight ends here. She started the run on tight ends. So, to a certain extent, she started that tight end thought. And that's one of the things about the drafts, and I always like to bring this up to people, is once somebody drafts a position that hasn't been drafted yet, do you jump on it and do you go right after that position, right? So, like, if no one's taken a tight end and then all of a sudden somebody takes a tight end, do you now shift your focus to tight end and just go after getting a tight end? And then does the rest of the league just get stuck on the tight end in fear that they're going to miss out on a good tight end if they don't go after it in that moment? So do you stay the course of, hey, there's a bunch of good running backs out here still, or I need to get my second wide receiver? Or do you shift because that position that hadn't been chosen has now been chosen? And in our draft, she took George Kittle, Eddie took Brock Bowers, Lisa took David Njoku, Becky took Travis Kelce. So it did start a run. Then there was a pause. And then at the start of round 4, right after that round 3, I took Sam Laporta. Then TJ Hawkinson was picked. Then Isaiah Pacheco, running back. Then back to tight end, Trey McBride, Evan Engram, Mark Andrews, all picked. So Aaron did open the door, but the floodgates did not essentially happen fully. They happened partially. And then in round 4, they continue there, because once somebody does that, takes the first quarterback, takes the first tight end, now the question becomes, again, do you stay the course of your plan? There was one league where I drafted so many running backs because they were available, and you either running back or wide receiver, and people were leaving me all these guys. And so then when I look at my wide receivers after, I'm like, I should have done a better job of mixing and having a little bit of this and a little bit of that, because I saw all these really good running backs, so I just focused there. I was like, if you're going to let me have these guys, and you're going to take quarterbacks and tight ends and 2, 3, 4 wide receivers, and you're going to leave me all of these running backs. I mean, think about it. If you had like Saquon, Derrick Henry, Ashton Genty, Josh Jacobs, like if they were all still there, yeah, you need to get your other positions, but you'll have a stockpile of running backs. And in our league, you play 2 running backs a week, plus you play 2 flex, which can be a running back, wide receiver, or a tight end. So, I could play, if I had those guys, I could play Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Ashton Genty in 1 week. And you're talking about guys, let's say they all have 200 yards, right? So now I have 800 yards, almost 1,000 yards rushing in a week. And, each of them has a touchdown or 2 and a couple of receptions, because we are PPR standard hybrid, very high scoring league. So, the question always becomes, Do you go with the person that opened up the door to a position that hasn't been drafted yet, or do you stay away from it? Like in the case of Aaron taking Pat Mahomes, Lisa, 2 picks later, she took Josh Allen, then Becky took Jalen Hurts. Then there was a little break, and then Tua went, and then there was a little break, and then we saw Baker Mayfield go. And then in the next round, I took Jaden Daniels to start out round 2, and then there were 5 picks before another quarterback was taken. So, I mean, it was spaced out. There wasn't a, oh my gosh, I got to do this right now or else. There was some opening between somebody taking that first and then, So you see a few people kind of say, okay, if a quarterback's going, some people might be thinking quarterback, I need to jump on this right now. And some people saying, you know what, I'm just going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to get what I want to get, and then I'll come back around to do that. Because I did that in this league. I actually did that with my backup quarterback, and I thought a bunch of them it was in this league. I did it with my backup quarterback. I thought a bunch were going to be invaluable because people weren't really going after them, right? So for their backup. So I thought, I'm like, I got plenty of time to go get a backup quarterback, and then there was a run on them. And then so that was one of the things where you started seeing the floodgates open a little bit more, and I probably should have jumped earlier on my backup quarterback. But, your hope is that you only need that quarterback for a week because you're hoping that your starter performs. So back to Aaron's, she got Pat Mahomes, Alvin Kamara, George Kittle. She got the first tight end in the draft. I probably would have went somewhere else. I would have looked to Brock Bowers or Trey McBride. And then she went with Aaron Jones, former Packer. She's a Packer fan, but now a Viking. She likes Ron. And then she went with Matthew Golden from the Packers. So she did get a Packer. Deebo Samuel Sr., who's now a Commander in round 6. And then Aaron went with Javonte Williams with the Cowboys. They got a bunch of guys in the backfield that probably would have stayed away from that. That was round 7. And then Jordan Addison in round 8. I like that. I don't know why he keeps falling down drafts. Jordan Reed, wide receiver for the Packers. Then she got Caleb Williams. I like that. Round 10. Your backup quarterback to Pat Mahomes. I do like that a lot. Jaden Blue. She got the handcuff there for Javonte Williams. Smart. Tyler Algier in round 12. I like it. Rashad Bateman in round 13. We'll see how he shakes out. Hoping big things for him. But we haven't seen a ton from Rashad Bateman. If you go back and look at Bateman by the numbers, and he is a wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens. If you go back and look at Rashad Bateman, his seasons in the NFL, 515 yards, 285 in only 7 games played, then 367 in 16 games, and then 756 last year in 17 games. But he did have 9 touchdowns last year, which was more than double his output of the first 3 years combined. He had 4 touchdowns in his first 3 seasons in the NFL receiving. He had 9 last year. So he is on the uptick, and we'll see if there's more consistency on that side of it. And so we'll definitely take a look at this here. And so Rashad Bateman, not a bad pick. Not a bad pick with what he's been doing recently. Woody Marks of the Texans, they got a bunch of guys back there. Noah Fant, tight end for the Bengals. Noah Fant, that guy that you look to and you say to yourself, okay, Noah Fant, here's the interesting thing about Noah Fant. So he started with the Broncos. Then he was in the trade for Russell Wilson, so he went to the Seahawks, and the Seahawks had him and Will Dissly. They had a bunch of guys. And then he moved on from there, and now he's a Cincinnati Bengal. And at the tight end, they have a ton of tight ends on that team. They have Mike Gesicki, Drew Sample. Yeah, they got a bunch of guys here. Technically, it says that they have 7 guys, but I would imagine not all these guys are going to be on the team. So, unfortunately, I would say, Noah Fant, okay, but that's round what? That she got him in. That is round 15. Then she got Luke Musgrave from the Packers in round 16. So she took 3 tight ends. You can max out at 3 tight ends in our league. You only have to have 2. So she took 3. Some people take 3 quarterbacks. Some people take 3 tight ends. Some people make sure that they have 6 wide receivers and 6 running backs. So she got Harrison Butker from the Chiefs, kicker. And she got the Cardinals defense. All right. So, I mean, I don't hate it. I think Erin got some good stuff. I don't think she needed to get a 3rd tight end. I will say that. I know she got some former Packers and current Packers. I'm going to give Erin a solid B. So Erin was our 2nd pick here. I'm going to go ahead and give Erin a B. And then we look to, and I want to make sure we get to everybody here because I know I'm taking some time here. So I'm going to analyze and go through the whole thing, but I will also make sure that, we're getting this all set up here so everybody gets a shake. So Eddie got Jamar Chase and Kyron Williams. Okay, I like those 2. Brock Bowers, love it. Eddie got Terry McLaurin in round 4. Smart. 49ers quarterback Brock Bowers is his starting quarterback. Tyrone Tracy Jr., who they said might be in that running back world, but also wide receiver world. So that'll be interesting to see. And, okay. So that's definitely something to look at here. I do like his pick so far. Austin Eckler in round 7. Okay, Old Faithful. Michael Pittman Jr. We'll see who's going to get the ball to him. Brandon Ayuk in round 9. That guy has fallen in both of the drafts that we've had. So that's sad to see. So in round 9, we got that. And then I'm going to go ahead and take a look at, let's see here. So then he got the Jets quarterback, okay, to back up Brock Purdy. He got Justin Fields. Then he got Hollywood Brown in round 11 for the Chiefs. Blake Corum in round 12. I like it. Kate Otten starting Bucs tight end in round 13. Then he got Ollie Gordon II, running back for the Dolphins. We'll see how that shakes out there in that backfield. They had a bunch of guys ranked in the top 70 at running back for the Dolphins. Deontay Johnson, wide receiver now for the Browns, formerly of the Steelers. Then you got Isaiah Davis, running back for the Jets, and his kicker Cameron Dicker of the Chargers and Seahawks defense. I gotta give Eddie here, and I gotta show Eddie some love here. I think that Eddie, for me, and this is the first year that Eddie's been drafting with us, and I think Eddie did a great job. Eddie, I gotta give you an A. I give you an A here, Eddie. I like what he did. I like it from the beginning. So we're gonna go ahead and give Eddie an A for the Gridiron Gurus League. So Eddie's got an A. And then going down the line, we're going to go to our 4th pick, and our 4th pick was Lisa. So Lisa has been a champion within these last 3 years. Lisa got Josh Allen. She's a Browns fan, by the way. Got Josh Allen after Pat Mahomes was taken 2 picks before, so I understand why she did it. Chase Brown, okay, she was in the latter part of the 2nd round, so I get that. Then she got David Njoku, one of the top tight ends in round 3, who's had a resurgence. Travion Henderson, running back of the Patriots. Rookie running back, just won a championship with Ohio State in the first ever 12-team college football playoff. Jackson Smith and Jigba in round 5. Okay. In round 6, Judy. I like it. In round 7, J.K. Dobbins, Broncos. We'll see. Round 8, maybe use a little bit, maybe a 3rd down guy. So round 8, she went with Stephon Diggs, who's now a Patriot. Then she went with Keenan Allen, who is back with the Chargers after a year away. It's like he did a year abroad. And then we have round 10, Marshawn Lloyd of the Packers. All right, don't hate it. Then we have Browns quarterback in round 11. See, we get team quarterbacks in our league, so you get every quarterback that is on that roster. So if anybody else comes in, somebody gets hurt, whatever, it's not like you totally lose a position. So I'm definitely, I think there's a lot to be said about having the Browns team quarterback because you get so many of them. Now, they did move away from Kenny Pickett, so, there has been some moves being made. We'll talk about those after we get through the draft grades. So she does have the Browns team quarterback. All right. I think Dylan Gabriel's better than people give him credit for. Look out for number 5 on the Cleveland Browns. Then she got Brenton Strange, tight end of the Jaguars. Okay. He does get some targets, and Evan Engram's not there. Dylan Sampson of the Browns, that could be a steal in round 13 at running back. Tyler Lockett, who's now a wide receiver for the Titans. Keaton Mitchell in round 15. I like it. Former East Carolina kid. Spoke with Rajai Harris about him. That's his teammate. Shout out to Rajai, too, making it in the NFL. Theo Johnson, tight end. So she took 3 tight ends. Again, I don't think I would do that. And then we have Bills defense and Cairo Santos, the kicker for the Bears. So I'd probably stay away from taking, again, feeling the need to have 3 tight ends on your roster, which is what you max out at. But, ultimately, I think Lisa's been a champion. She knows what it's like to win one of these things. So, Lisa, I'm going to have to give you a draft grade of, she did get Josh Allen. She got some of these. I'm going to give you a B. I'll give you a solid B. So with that being said, we're going to go to our 5th, and then we're going to take a step aside for a fast break inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, given our draft grades this morning for everyone that drafted in our Central New York leagues inside of the Wake Up Call fantasy football leagues that we have here at the Wildcat Sports Pub in Central New York, the Gridiron Gurus League, and the Captains on Call League. So let's hop into the 5th pick, and that 5th pick is Becky. Becky's also been a champion. She's an Eagles fan. She drafted Jalen Hurts after she saw Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes go. However, she passed on getting Bijan Robinson, Justin Jefferson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Puka Nacua, Christian McCaffrey, and Lamar Jackson. But, Jalen Hurts, not a bad pick here. So she did get Jalen. Feels so good it hurts. And then you got James Cook in the lower part of the 2nd round. I like that. Just signed an extension. Travis Kelce in round 3, almost in the middle of round 3. Respect it. And Becky got DK Metcalf with the Steelers in round 4 now. Then she got Chuba Hubbard in round 5. I was talking about Chuba Hubbard years ago, and now all of a sudden he's higher on draft boards. People are drafting him within the first few rounds. I just find it interesting. And maybe with Jonathan Brooks being out for the Panthers, people are kind of looking at Chuba that maybe didn't even know he existed in the NFL before, but now they're saying, okay, maybe some Chuba Hubbard. So she got him in round 5, 5th pick. And then Becky went with Tyler Warren, the rookie tight end from the Colts. I wanted to get him. She got him in round 6. I looked at getting him. My only thing is who's throwing to him. Anthony Richardson, banged up. Daniel Jones, your starter. But you also, a guy like Riley Leonard, who had been there through camp and whatnot. What do you ultimately do with these guys? But she got 2 tight ends. Speaking of Becky, she got 2 tight ends within the first 6 rounds. I wouldn't have done that. So now if she stays away from it, okay. But if she drafts another one, then I say, okay, that's not really where I would go. Then in round 7, Jalen Warren, running back of the Steelers. All right, a bunch of running backs were off the board. This is a 14-team league once again. Then Becky got Cooper Kupp in round 8. Seahawks now. Love that. And then in round 9, Jordan Mason of the Vikings. In round 10, Becky got Dallas Goedert from the Eagles. Good to get him in round. So now she's taken 3 tight ends. And then in the first 10 rounds of an 18 round. So pretty much in the first half of the draft, she took 3 tight ends. I wouldn't take 3 tight ends necessarily in the whole draft. Then she got Drake May in round 11. I love that pick. And then Becky went with Marvin Mims Jr. We'll see how he does. I know he's got a lot of autographed cards out there. Then she went with Jalen Wright of the Dolphins, running back in round 13. Okay. Then Becky went Josh Palmer, wide receiver of the Bills now. Then she went with Pat Field. Oh, she can't do that. She took four tight ends. We're going to have to fix that. She can't take 4. I didn't even see that here. So we actually have to address that. She's going to have to get somebody in free agency. And then she went with Adonai Mitchell, wide receiver of the Colts. And then her kicker, Tyler Bass of the Bills and Patriots defense. So, I mean, ultimately, there was a lot. Oh, Becky said, be kind. I'm listening. Becky, you got 4 tight ends, so we got to change that. I'm inputting the league today, so we're going to have to change that, Becky. Becky said, be kind. She's listening. Perfect timing, Becky. I give you an A. No, I'm kidding. So Becky, I'm going to give you in this draft, I'm going to give you a little B-. I'm going to get a little B- today. But you are a champion, so we'll see how it goes here. We will take a step aside for a fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. When we come back, we'll continue to give our draft grades for the Gridiron Gurus and then Captains on Call. It's Fantasy Draft Day grading. I am now going back to our drafts we did over the weekend and giving a grade for everybody in Central and Upstate New York. Just remember, I love you dearly.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jim Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. He kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin them milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
In these unique times, There are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Appreciate you being here with us every single Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And I imagine we're going to go longer today, which we typically do here inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. Head out to Great Lakes Honda City today and every Monday through Saturday for sales and service. Make sure you let them know that DT sent you, and you can get a sneak peek of all their new and used vehicles on the lot by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. We're doing our draft grades here for the Gridiron Gurus. Joe, who had the first overall pick in a 14-team league, the biggest we've ever had for the Gridiron Gurus, he got a B+. Aaron, second pick, got a B. Third pick, Eddie got an A. Fourth pick, Lisa got a B. Fifth pick, Becky got a B-. Now we're going to the sixth pick of this league, and that pick number 6 goes to Brandon. And Brandon here, Brandon's a newcomer to the league, so shout out to Brandon. We're going to go ahead and put Brandon in here for the 6th pick. And we're going to go through Brandon's team to see what I'm giving Brandon on his draft. So Brandon, 6th pick, got Bijan Robinson. How about it? With the 6th pick, almost smack dab in the middle of the first round there, Saquon had gone, Pat Mahomes, Jamar Chase, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts in that order. He got Bijan right there in the middle. Then he turned around in the second round and got CeeDee Lamb there in the bottom half of the second round. Nice pickup. In round 3, he went with Malik Neighbors. Love it. Devontae Adams. So he got running back, and then he went receiver, receiver, receiver. And again, like I was talking about before, if they're there, why would you pass up, right? You may want to balance out running back and wide receiver, but if they're all there for you and you're getting what you want, why not go with it? Devontae Adams, round 4, who is now a Ram. In round 5, he went back to running back James Conner. That's your second running back, round 5. I like it. That's a starter in round 5 in a 14-team league. So I'm feeling it. Round 6, we got Broncos team Bo Nix in round 6. I like it, and it rhymes. A little Dr. Seuss for you this morning. Then he got Travis Etienne in round 7. In round 8, Brandon went with Jacoby Myers of the... Sorry, I have something in my throat. One more time. Iratus. And so we look at round 9. Keon Coleman in round 9. I'm loving it. Then he got Kyle Pitts. That's his first tight end, right? Yeah, that's his first tight end. And he got him in round 9. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. Because that, when tight ends go, and like I said, when there starts to be a flood of tight ends, and you're like, oh, I got to get one. Because if I don't get one, where am I going to be at? But I will say last year there was like 5 or 6 tight ends. And then after that, it was like, what am I going to do? This year, I feel like there's more opportunity to, grab a tight end that's not, there's not necessarily just 5 tight ends. I think there's more guys this year that can make an impact fantasy-wise. So I do like that. And so he got Kyle Pitts in round 10. Love it. I like not only the players that he's getting, but I like how strategically he was successful this. He gets Trevor Lawrence in round 11, who drops in a bunch of drafts. And then he got Darren Waller. So he did pick up another tight end in close proximity. And then Raheem Mostert, who's a running back for the, one more time, Raiders. And then we got the round 14, DeAndre Hopkins, D-Hop, round 14, Ravens. Again, timing of the pick. And I'm looking at this thinking to myself, were we drafting with this guy? Because it seems like he was getting a bunch of good stuff here. So Jaleel McLaughlin, running back, Broncos in round 15. And then Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback of the Niners, who sometimes gets involved in the passing and rushing game. And then you got Broncos defense and Tyler Loop, the new kicker for the Ravens. Brandon did a good job, man. I like it. He was pick 6, but he's getting an A. How about that? Because who he got and when he got them, just it's almost like he was pickpocketing from other people. So I definitely respect his draft for sure. Going to give him some love on that. Now we're going to go to 7, Rich. Now Rich is also new to the draft. Came in with Brandon. He got Justin Jefferson right in the middle of the 14-team league, first round. Smart. Got Justin Jefferson. He got Jonathan Taylor. So he's drafted in the middle all the way through. Justin Jefferson, Jonathan Taylor, A.J. Brown. Then he got Devon Achane. So now you see him. He's got 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers in the first 4 rounds. He went back and forth. And then you got Breece Hall. Love it. In round 5 in the middle. Jalen Waddle while you work in round 6. Middle of round 7, Devontae Smith. I have no idea why this guy fell. He fell to me the next day. Tucker Kraft, tight end. Okay, there's a bunch of tight ends that had been taken. I believe so, right? I'm just trying to see what tight ends were still available. Yeah, okay, so taking Tucker Kraft makes sense there. All right, that was round 8. First tight end he took. And then Ramondre Stevenson in round 9. Then he went with Vikings quarterback. So he went with J.J. McCarthy to go with Justin Jefferson for the team up there. So that's his first quarterback that he chose. And that first quarterback that he chose didn't come. So he drafted a tight end before a quarterback, and the first quarterback he chose was round 10, and he still got J.J. McCarthy. All right, I like it. And now they have Carson Wentz backing him up. And then he went quarterbacks back-to-back. After waiting, round 10, he took J.J. McCarthy. Round 11, he took Michael Penix Jr. Then he went back to running back Trey Benson, Christian Kirk. I like it. In round 13. And then Luther Burden, the third wide receiver for the Bears. We'll see how that all works out, who's going to make a name for themselves there. Isaac Guarendo for the running backs, or for the Niners, and he filled in for some moments last year, so we'll see what that looks like. Quentin Johnston of the Chargers, okay, and that's in round 16, so that's the last wide receiver he took. Then he got Eagles defense, and then he got Kaimi Fairbairn, the kicker of the Texans. So I got to show some love here for Rich. I think Rich did a good job too. And I mean, honestly, I think him and Brandon both get an A here. They both get an A. New to the league, both worthy of having the A. So congratulations to you both. Now going over to pick 8 here. Pick 8 is Johnny Roberts. Now there's Johnny and there's John. John is his father. So let's go to Johnny first here. Johnny's a Lions fan. He got Jahmyr Gibbs with pick 8. I like it because he can go earlier. So he got Jahmyr Gibbs. He got quarterback Joe Burrow in round 2. After Pat Mahomes was off the board. Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, as well as Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield were all off the list. So, okay. So he went with Joe Burrows. Then Johnny went with Brian Thomas Jr. because he's a jerk. No, I'm kidding, Johnny. I'm a fan of Brian Thomas Jr. because I'm a Jags fan. And I have a 1-of-1 Brian Thomas card that sits right off my shoulder here in the studio that I got from GG Cards and Breaks. So Johnny already knows that he made 2 picks in this draft that were upsetting to me. But this is my Brian Thomas Jr. You can see the 1-of-1 there right at his bottom of his leg. So, Brian Thomas Jr. Wappa Jr. So we got that, and then we have Marvin Harrison Jr. So he did back-to-back. He pissed me off. That's what he did in the first 4 rounds. But I love you, Johnny, dearly. Amarian Hampton, he went with him. Some people going high on him, the running back of the Chargers. And then we saw Johnny go with Jamison Williams, another Lion, round 6. I like the timing of it. Then he went with Colston Loveland, tight end for the Bears. Rookie tight end for the Bears. So that's his first tight end that he decided to go with. So he got his first tight end, Johnny did, in round 7. Okay, so I like it. Smart. Then he got Teteroa McMillan. I'm happy some people are high on him like I am. Wide receiver, Panthers, rookie. Just crazy phenom for Arizona in college. And then I think I got his autographed card and I sold it already. Then we have Roma Dunze that he got in round 9. Loving Johnny's picks here. Loving his wide receivers too. Then he got Kyler Murray to help out with Marvin Harrison Jr. Then he got Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, the running back for the Commanders. Commanders felt good enough to get rid of Brian Robinson Jr. So Ja'Cory in round 11, that's a good pick. Romeo Doubs from the Packers in round 12, okay, wide receiver. And then he went with Dalton Schultz as a backup tight end for the Texans. Then he went with Will Shipley, running back for the Eagles in round 14. I like it. The Eagles, even though they have Saquon, Shipley catch out of the backfield. I feel like Shipley in some night, primetime game, Sunday night, Monday night, is going to get himself into the end zone from Clemson. So I like that pick, especially in round 14. Kenneth Gainwell, who is now with the Steelers, went from one part of Pennsylvania to the other, from Philly to Pitts. So I like that. And then he went with Michael Mayer, tight end for the Raiders. And he did that in round 16. Again, I don't think you need 3 tight ends, but he got 3 good ones, right? 3 starters. So good on Johnny for that. And then he went with Lions defense as a Lions fan and Jason Sanders, the kicker for the Dolphins. So Johnny, I really like his draft, and I really, really like his wide receivers. Like, I really like his wide receiver room. So I want to just go back here and take a look at his running back room. So you got Gibbsy, and because his wide receiver is so strong. So Gibbs, Hampton, okay. Gibbs, Hampton, as well as, because he went so heavy on receivers early on. And then Ja'Cory, Gibbs, Hampton, Ja'Cory, okay. So 2, let's see what they do. 1 who's definitely proven himself in fantasy, and then Shipley. All right, so, Johnny, based on that, I'm going to go ahead, and that's why I wanted to check the wide receivers and the running backs, because he definitely went heavier on the running back. So Johnny, on the receivers, and then came back to running back. So Johnny, I'm going to go ahead and give you an A- from this draft. Then we'll go to pick number 9. Pick number 9 that we had here is Miss Diane, and Diane went with Tua. She did that early. She does get the team quarterback for the Dolphins, so she gets everyone there. But hopefully she won't need them because the team is better with Tua, and the world's a better place when Tua is healthy. So let's hope he stays that way. God bless. In Jesus' most precious name, we pray. So she goes with Tua really early. Puka was still there. Lamar Jackson, Christian McCaffrey, Baker Mayfield, Ashton Genty, Jaden Daniels, Nico Collins, Bucky Irving. Those guys were all there for the taking. Derrick Henry's still there, too. So that was early for me. And to take a quarterback. Tyreek Hill. So she got the link up in the first 2 rounds. Then Diane went Mike Evans. Dude's a 1,000-yard receiving machine. Then she went tight end in round number 4. Mark Andrews. I get it because that's where there was a run, like I said, round 3. And then round 4, there was more. So she went and got Mark Andrews. I respect that because of the timing. Then she got David Montgomery. Good pick here. Round 5, running back for the Lions. Arguably the best tandem in fantasy in the backfield. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. And then Diane went with Joe Mixon. Okay. Not bad. Round 6. Round 7, Chris Godwin. So she got the 2 Bucs receivers. Then she got Nick Chubb in round 8. So she got Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb from the same backfield. So she has the handcuff there for the Texans. But she did that early. I don't know if I would have done that. Round 9, she went with Zach Feels So Good at Ertz. And so, yeah. I'm going back here and just taking a look because she has 2 tight ends now. At this point in the draft, she has Mark Andrews and Zach Ertz, and she got them both in the first 8 rounds. I'm sorry, 9 rounds. Okay. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have gone with 2 in the first 9 rounds. And then, but it was a 14-team league, so it does adjust a little bit. Rashid Shaheed, wide receiver of the Saints in round 10. Okay. Ray Davis of the Bills, round 11, backup running back. He'll get some time out there. Cedric Tillman, wide receiver for the Browns, question mark what he's going to be. Bryce Young, quarterback to back up Tua. I don't like her quarterback situation here. DJ Giddens, running back for the Colts. Okay, he'll probably see some action, I would anticipate. Clyde Edwards-Helaire of the Saints, now with the Saints, and so that'll be interesting with Alvin Kamara. I would imagine they're going to use 2 guys. Because Mark Ingram II used to be another guy that they utilized with Kamara. Darius Slayton, wide receiver of the Giants in round 16. That's not bad at all. So, okay, Diane. And then we have Texans defense and Chase McLaughlin, the Bucs kicker. So, Diane, don't be mad at me. I'm going to have to give you a C+. So, I'll give Diane a C+ on this. Pick 10 in the Gridiron Gurus League was John Roberts. He took Puka Nacua. Then he took Derrick Henry. I let Derrick Henry fall to him. That's my fault. I let Derrick Henry fall out of the first round. So that was on me. That was just me not paying attention to what was right in front of my face. So good on John Roberts for taking advantage of that. And then he went with Rams quarterback. He is a Rams fan, so he went with Matty Stafford. So you got Matt Stafford, Derrick Henry, Puka Nacua, and so you got Matty to Puka. You have that link up in the first 3 rounds. Okay, I like it. Then he went Evan Engram, tight end of the Broncos. People high on him, which I love. I don't feel like they respected him in Jacksonville, and they definitely didn't respect him his last few moments with the Giants, but I feel like now people are like, oh, hey, this Evan Engram guy is pretty good, which he's been good. And then he took a Lions quarterback. So he went in round 3, he took Rams quarterback. Round 5, he took the Lions quarterback. So he took the quarterbacks that swapped. Jared Goff going to Detroit from the LA Rams, and then Matty Stafford Jared Goff going from the Rams to Detroit, and then Matt Stafford going from Detroit to the Rams. And So he took them both in the first 5 rounds. I would not have done that. Calvin Ridley, wide receiver of the Titans. At the time, Jerry Jeudy still available. Debo, Tyrone Tracy. So, okay, I mean, not bad. That was round 6. Jameson Williams was still available, too. And Jalen Waddle. And Bo Nix, who I would have taken before I took Matty Stafford, probably. So, little interesting there. Decision he took. So, and I think that might have bumped us offline here for a second. We may have been bumped offline. Let's see here. So, I think you could still hear us on this set, and hopefully you can still hear us on YouTube. I think we might have been bumped off of Facebook, and if that's the case, we'll just adjust to this after the fact. We may have been bumped off of Facebook. Hopefully not, but if we were, we'll just go ahead and restart this here. But I do want to. But if we, we're still on YouTube. Just checked YouTube. So YouTube, we're good to go, and we're here on Podbean as well. But we're going to have to shift gears here. Not shift gears, but we're going to have to get back to you on Facebook, which we're going to load that up here in just a moment. We'll actually take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, we'll keep doing John's picks here as we are giving our draft grades. We do this every single year for the Wake Up Call Fantasy Football Leagues. We go back and grade every single team owner. So the Gridiron Gurus League is what we're working on right now. That drafts at the Wildcat Sports Pub on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. And also drafting there the Captains on Call League, which is up next. So we're going to continue our draft here after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Of course, we appreciate you being with us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Cannot thank you enough for being a part of the show here where sports truly meets that thing called life. And of course, we are inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Make sure you go to Great Lakes Honda City today and let them know that DT sent you. And we appreciate everyone, as always, for heading over to Great Lakes Honda City. So we'll be back momentarily here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life.
Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on into the neighborhood spot, Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9 campground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios every single Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Can't thank you enough for being a part of the show. So those of you that are here with us on YouTube as well as on Podbean, we have continued on Facebook. We started a new video for you. We are giving our draft grades currently, and I'm working on the Gridiron Gurus draft grades as we're doing them in the moment. The 10th overall pick going to John. And so currently looking at John's team and giving you my assessment. So let's go back to what John had here. So we have John with, I'm just going to give it a little refresher here. John had Puka Nacua. Then he drafted Derrick Henry, which I love. Then he got two quarterbacks in the first 5 rounds in round 3 and round 5. I wouldn't have done that. He went Matt Stafford in round 3. Then he went to Evan Engram. Then he went to Matty Stafford. Then John went to Calvin Ridley. A little bit early, there was other guys out there. Then he went to Caleb Johnson, running back of the Steelers, in round 7. Round 8, Kareem Hunt. Okay. A bunch of running backs had been chosen at the time, but there was other guys that were still out there, like a Nick Chubb, Jordan Mason of the Vikings. Now, round 9, but I'm okay. I'm okay with with what he chose there in Kareem Hunt. Round 8. Round 9, we're looking at Tyler Higbee. All right, so he has 2 tight ends here in the first half of the draft. Wouldn't have done that. Then Jerome Ford, running back of the Browns, in round 10, fell all the way down there. So good on him for getting that. Jawan Jennings, wide receiver of the Niners, in round 11. Xavier Legette of the Panthers, potential number 1 guy, in round 12. Then he went with Demario Douglas, wide receiver of the Patriots, in round 13, okay? Rashawn Johnson of the Bears. Then we saw him go Jack Beck, wide receiver of the Raiders, late here. And in round 16, Tutu Atwell of the Rams, as he is a Rams fan. Then he went with Ravens defense, Old Faithful there. There's a lot of Old Faithfuls. I realized this morning that there's been at least 3, and there's arguably more I can call that. And then Matt Gay, the kicker of the Commanders. So I'm going to give John a C in this draft. Because we'll see if they... I didn't mean to do that, but I did that. I'm giving him a C because we'll see. But, true statement. So the 11th pick here, Carissa, we have for the 11th pick. So Carissa, let's get her on the board here. Carissa took Lamar Jackson with the 11th overall pick. Love it. Then she took Josh Jacobs in round 2. Love that. Then she went and took T. Higgins at the bottom of round 3. Smart. Trey McBride, arguably the best tight end in the draft, in round 4, after a bunch of tight ends had already been taken. Love it. In round 5, she went with Zay Flowers enjoying this. So she's got the link up between Zay and Lamar Jackson in the first, and she got him within the first 5 rounds. She got him at the bottom of round 5, the bottom half. Then in round 6, Xavier Worthy. Round 7, she got her backup quarterback, who is Justin Herbert, to Lamar Jackson. Smart, clever girl, I gotta say, to lean back to what they said about that Raptor in Jurassic Park. Brian Robinson Jr., who's now a Niners running back in round 8. I don't hate it. Jaden Higgins, wide receiver of the Texans. We'll see how that works out. Rashad White, running back of the Bucs in round 10. Smart. Josh Downs, wide receiver of the Colts. Could turn on to be a good season. Again, every quarterback has their guy. Daniel Jones, does he like throwing to him? We'll see. Jake Ferguson, tight end of the Cowboys. So I respect that as well. So she's got 2 tight ends at this point, and yeah, getting Trey McBride and then Jake Ferguson, I like it very much so. So she got that, and then we'll take a look and see. She got Trey Harris, wide receiver of the Chargers, after that, and then Ty Johnson, running back of the Bills. Okay, Bills, that's, potentially their 3rd guy. Then Elijah Mitchell, running back of the Chiefs. He's in that roundup. Kyle Williams, wide receiver of the Patriots, in round 16. And then Carissa went Steelers defense. And she rounded out with Jake Elliott, the kicker of them Eagles. So, Carissa, I like Carissa's draft here. I do. And she was really smart for being pick 11 here. She was really smart in where she went and how she went. She got people that other people should have been taking. So she's going to get a B+. B+. Could be an A- at the end of the season. We'll see. So I'm going to give her a B+. Then we're going to Mark, who had the 12th pick. Mark's been with me from, I believe, the first year that we did the Wake Up Call Fantasy Football Leagues here in Central New York. So I believe he's been with me for 14 years. And at the Wildcat for more than half of those. Mark went Christian McCaffrey with the 12th pick. Mark is very smart, by the way. Bucky Irving, so he went 2 running backs. Then Ladd McConkey took him from me, 2 picks before me. Isaiah Pacheco, so he went 3 running backs in the first 4 rounds. Let's see how he works. Actually, he went 4 running backs in the first 5 rounds because he went DeAndre Swift. So then he goes to Rashee Rice. Okay, so he's got McConkey and Rice are his only wide receivers in the first 6 rounds. Okay. Then he goes Emeka Egbuka, okay, for the wide receiver, rookie of the Bucks. Ricky Pearsall. Okay. I don't know if I would go there. Then he went Cowboys quarterback in round 9 was his first quarterback. Dak Prescott, Joe Milton and the crew. Then he went back-to-back. He got C.J. Stroud. So he got the 2 Texas-based quarterbacks. Then he went with Hunter Henry, his first tight end, okay, for the Patriots, and Justice Hill of the Ravens in round 12. I don't hate it. Jalen McMillan, wide receiver of the Bucks, who was a rookie last year. Then he went with Mike Gesicki as his backup tight end for the Bengals, starter there. Like I said, they got a lot of guys, but Mike Gesicki right now is number 1 on the depth chart from what I saw this morning. Then Rico Dowdle, running back of the Patriots in round 15, or not the Patriots, Panthers, pardon me. Then he went with Christian Watson so late, who was supposed to potentially be the number 1 guy. So he took a chance on some people that other people maybe weren't thinking about or didn't think were good. And he made some good moves early. Brandon Aubrey, his kicker, and Bucks defense. So, I mean, he went heavy on the running back, but then he tried to get into those receivers and make some moves there. So I definitely like his running back room. I like his running back room more than I like his receiver room. However, if Egbuka shows up, we know McConkey did some good things last year. He could be in good shape. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give Mark... I'm going to give Mark a B+ as well. Do I want to give him an A-? Yeah, go with your gut, Daniel. Go with your gut. I'm going to give him an A-. And then we're not going to do the 14th pick because I was the 14th pick and I'm not going to grade myself. So I leave that up to somebody else. I don't think it's fair to... I mean, I would be impartial and I would tell you where I went wrong. I already told you I let Derrick Henry go by me, but I don't grade myself here on the show. So Bucks quarterback is what Bill got at the bottom of the first round. That was after Saquon Barkley, Pat Mahomes, Jamar Chase, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Bijan Robinson, Justin Jefferson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Tua Tagovailoa, Puka Nacua, Lamar Jackson, and Christian McCaffrey all went. Now, he could have gotten Genty, he could have gotten Jaden Daniels, could have gotten Nico Collins, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Tyreek Hill, Joe Burrow, but he went with Baker. Now, Baker's done well, and I think Baker could really help him out. So, I don't hate that pick by any stretch of the imagination. I think I would have went elsewhere, but I maybe picked him up when I flipped back around. But then he got Nico Collins. When we did the snake draft, you do 1 through whatever and then back the other way. So he was picked 13, but he was picked 2 of the second round. Then you got Nico. So I do like that. Then he got Kenneth Walker III as his first running back, like that. TJ Hawkinson. So he went quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end, all early. So he got some good guys. Smart on Bill. Cortland Sutton took him away from me, potentially. I do like Cortland Sutton, covered him in college. And then Tony Pollard, running back of the Titans. Chris Olave in the bottom of the 7th round. Love it. Second to last pick of the 7th round. Tank Bigsby at the top of the 8th. Love that pick too. Zach passed the Charbonnet at the bottom of the 9th round. Top of the 10th, Darnell Mooney. We'll see how that works out. Hopefully Penix can get the ball to a bunch of these guys with the Falcons, like Mooney, like Pitts, and so on, and Drake London. And then he got the Titans quarterback, so he went with Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick in round 11. Then he went with Miles Sanders, running back of the Cowboys, back up there. Could be the number 1 guy. Chigoziem Okonkwo, tight end of the Titans, so he got 2 tight ends in the first 13 rounds. I'm okay with that. Samaje Perine, running back of the Bengals, around 14, could be the number 2 guy. Isaiah Likely, tight end for the Ravens, so you got 3 tight ends. Got the guy that has been working with Mark Andrews, was backing him up, and then was playing with him. So I like that pick in round 15. And 16, Ray McLeod III, another guy been in the league for a bunch of years. He's out of Clemson, and people are talking about him now. So just interesting, wide receiver of the Falcons, but in a good way. And then Vikings defense and Chris Boswell of the Steelers at kicker. So, Bill, not a bad draft here. Again, I wouldn't take 3 tight ends. So that's something that, you get enticed to, but I just don't think it's the way to go. So, Bill, for your name here, I'm going to give you a solid B there, Bill. So those are my grades for the Gridiron Gurus League that drafts here in Central New York, and all of our Central New York leagues proudly, exclusively call the Wildcat Sports Pub our home for our drafts and all throughout the season, as well as during the off season, which doesn't exist because we're always talking about the NFL. So those are our grades there. And of course, I'll tell you my team. I'm just not going to grade my team because I don't think it's fair to do that. I believe that I'm fair, but I don't want to sit here and grade my own team. So this is who I got. And I had the 14th pick of 14. So the first pick of the second round because it's a snake draft. But I did have to wait 13 picks until I drafted. And then after I drafted at the top of the second round, I had to wait for 26 picks. 13 left in the second round, 13 in the third round, then back to me. So I had to do that multiple times. So I had to wait almost 30 picks between who I was picking. So I had to be smart. And again, I let Derrick Henry pass me by. And I focused on Genty. Wasn't even looking at the fact that Henry was still there. But I'm happy I got Ashton Genty. Now, my quarterbacks are Jaden Daniels and Jackson Dart, and whoever the Giants have. And then, because it's team quarterback. Then I have Ashton Genty, RJ Harvey, Cam Scattaboo, Najee Harris now of the Chargers, Biasol Tutin, and Kendre Miller now of the Saints. Did not purposefully draft 4 rookie running backs, but Genty's a starter. I think Harvey hopefully will be a starter. Scattaboo could be the starter, if not the power guy. And then Tutin, you have him come in, maybe helps you on third down. So I think for this, I could end up with 3 starting running backs of those rookies this year. Wide receiver, I have Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Travis Hunter, who's technically 3 different players, because if he does something well on defense, then, good on. If he intercepts the ball, returns it for a touchdown, good on me. If he does a special teams return for a touchdown, good on me. If he gets an offensive touchdown, good on me. So Travis Hunter's drafted 3 guys. He is another rookie, so I had 5 rookies on this team. Wendell Robinson, Michael Wilson, who's fallen down the draft board, and I'm okay with that. And Alec Iomanor from the Titans is a guy that seemingly could have a nice connection with Cam Ward. So that's why I got him as my 6th and final wide receiver. Then I got Sam Laporta and Dalton Kincaid, arguably my best tight end tandem I've ever had. I got Cam Little, the kicker from the Jaguars, that can boot it from here to Jacksonville. And I got the 49ers defense. Why did I get the 49ers defense, Dan? They weren't even ranked in the top 10. Because they are playing by record. They are playing the easiest schedule this season as far as how teams performed last year. So that is why I chose the Niners, because strength of schedule, theirs is 32nd of 32, because their opponents had the worst record last year by and large. So there you go.